In today's video, we go to August 2020 to Blantyre, South Lanarkshire, Scotland, to a murder that stands as a harrowing example of the lethal consequences that can arise from escalating criminal feuds. This is Curios&Spiritual. We look into the details of the events leading up to Graham Williamson's untimely death, the individuals involved, the police investigation, and the trial. Derek Falvers, 25 years old, Thomas Juris, who lived in Spain, 28 years old, and James Bally, 26 years old, were a gang of dealers. Derek Falvers' crew dealt Class A, and they seen themselves as gangsters commanding respect. But to the people of the Blantyre area, they were a running joke. 4 months earlier, police issued Derek Falvers an Osborne warning notice, indicating his life was under threat. This notification was disclosed during a court appearance in May 2020. Falvers had been arrested on trafficking charges. He sought to have his bail curfew lifted due to these threats. His solicitor Robert Sheridan argued that the curfew restricted Falvers' ability to leave his residence if attackers appeared in the night. Prosecutor Jennifer McLaren confirmed the threat to life warning the previous month. Another of the crew in April 2020, Thomas Juris, appeared at Hamilton Sheriff Court for dangerous driving. He'd been told to stop his Audi by an unmarked police car in Motherwell, Lanarkshire. He pulled over and put the hazard lights on, but then sped off when officers approached. Police officers gave chase with Juris driving at excessive speeds and in an aggressive manner before he disappeared out of sight. An investigation led to his arrest, and he later claimed he did not know the males who approached his car were police officers. The gang was seen as a bunch of wannabes, commanding respect and wanting to be feared. Nobody respected them or feared them. Graham Williamson was a 26-year-old who owned several businesses and lived with his partner, a proud father and a resident of Blantyre. He became embroiled in a toxic feud with local dealer Derek Falvers and his associates. This conflict was marked by a series of retaliatory incidents that escalated tensions between the parties involved. The first were big crosswords in the Libertine pub that got heated. No one was harmed. The next incident would be a firebomb attack on Derek Falvers' car by known criminal Lee Liddell. Lee Liddell approached the Range Rover, bust a window and doused Derek Falvers' motor in petrol, and his accomplice tried to set it alight using a firework. However, the rocket missed the Range Rover and hit the wall of the nearby property by mistake. Falvers wasn't home at the time when his car was targeted in the attack. His mum and sister were aware of noises outside, but didn't realise until the next morning what had happened. A firework had hit the wall of their home and was found on the ground. They found the window of Derek Falvers' Range Rover been smashed and petrol poured inside. Liddell had cut himself breaking the glass, and detectives found blood at the scene. An allegation that he broke into Falvers' home and stole cash, watches and perfume. A purse and a jacket was dropped. Liddell's record included a High Court conviction at the age of 15 for robbery. He was jailed in 2016 for starting a blaze that destroyed a caravan and 3 vehicles. Derek Falvers, not known at the time Lee Liddell had done this. He thought that Graham Williamson had tried to torch his Range Rover and so retaliated. It set the stage for subsequent events. Shortly after this, Williamson's car was deliberately set on fire, and that believed to be a direct consequence of the ongoing dispute. A pivotal moment in this escalating feud took place on August 14, 2020 at the Shanghai Tea House, a Chinese restaurant in Bothwell, Lanarkshire. On that evening, Falvers and a companion were confronted by Williamson and his associates. In a state of panic, Falvers sought refuge inside the restaurant, attempting to barricade himself by holding the door shut. He was captured on video pleading with the staff for a knife to defend himself against the group outside. The footage, which showed Falvers in a vulnerable and desperate situation, was subsequently uploaded to Instagram with the caption, "This public humiliation was a significant blow to Falvers' reputation, particularly given his status as a dealer attempting to project an image of dominance and control. The video not only exposed his vulnerability, but also challenges authority within the local criminal underworld. In response to his embarrassment, Falvers posted a video directed at his rivals, stating, "See you soon, boys." This message was interpreted as a direct threat and indicates his intent to retaliate. Determined to restore his tarnished reputation and assert his dominance, Falvers sought assistance to exact revenge on Williamson. He enlisted the help of Thomas Juris, who travelled from Spain to participate in a plan, and James Bally, who was designated as the getaway driver. The trio meticulously orchestrated their attack, demonstrating a calculated and a premeditated approach to impending violence. On August 17, 2020, as Williamson was coordinating with a vehicle recovery firm to collect his previously torched car, he was in his garden. Seizing this opportunity, Juris approached Williamson from behind and shot him at close range with a sawn-off shotgun. The assailants then fled the scene in a stolen Skoda, with Bally at the wheel and Falvers accompanying them. Williamson managed to stagger onto the street before collapsing. Despite the prompt arrival of emergency services and subsequent transport to University Hospital Wishaw, Graham Williamson succumbed to his injuries shortly thereafter. Following the murder, the perpetrators sought refuge in Edinburgh, where they reported to have bragged about their actions, glorifying the attack. Their behaviour underscored a blatant disregard for the gravity of their crime and highlighted the callousness at which they operated. The trio's subsequent movements included fleeing to Liverpool and attempting to evade capture by travelling abroad. Police Scotland launched an extensive investigation into Williamson's murder. Their efforts included analysing CCTV footage, conducting numerous interviews, and piecing together the sequence of events that led to the fatal shooting. The humiliating video of Falvers at the Shanghai Tea House emerged as a critical piece of evidence, providing insight into the motive behind the murder and illustrating the lengths to which criminals would go to protect their reputations in the criminal underworld. Derek Falvers intended to act on, and that he knew the cavalry was on the way to help. Police had established a series of events. Juris had arrived from Spain, and Bally was used as a getaway driver. Graham was then murdered at his home as he dealt with a vehicle recovery firm called out to collect his burnt-out car. As he went into his garden, the gunman came from behind and shot him. In the space of 14 seconds of getting out the stolen Skoda, the gunman then returned to the vehicle, joining Falvers and Bally. Graham Williams initially staggered onto the street before collapsing. The killers bragged to others and were glorifying it. Falvers was also described as freaking out, wanting to keep quiet and get rid of phones. The trio then fled to Liverpool and abroad after the murder. Falvers and Bally were initially arrested weeks later before Juris was hauled back from Spain. All three were remanded into custody. While on remand, Derek Falvers' Range Rover that was parked at his mum's was torched again. This time the car went up and set fire to the front of the house. Police and fire services arrived and the house and occupants were saved. At the High Court in Edinburgh, overseen by Lord Fairley said on the 17th of August 2020, Graham Williamson was shot in the back with a sawn-off shotgun as he stood outside his home in High Blantyre. He died in the street within seconds of being shot. On the evidence that I heard, this was a premeditated killing, which involved a significant level of planning that included the use of a rented flat in Edinburgh as an assembly point, travel from there to Glasgow, the purchase of balaclava masks, and return to Blantyre area and a switch to a stolen car with false number plates. The three of you then hunted for Mr. Williamson in a stolen car. When you found him in the street where he lived, Thomas Juris left the rear seat of the car and executed Mr. Williamson in cold blood by shooting him in the back at close range. The stolen car was then burned out in an attempt to cover your tracks. After a thorough examination of evidence and testimonies, all three were convicted of Graham Williamson's murder. Derek Falvers was sentenced to life imprisonment with a minimum term of 23 years before he is eligible for parole. Thomas Juris was also sentenced to life imprisonment with a minimum term of 23 years before he is eligible for parole, while James Bally received a life sentence with a minimum term of 21 years. The legal aid bill combined for the three convicted was £120,000. Falvis is now serving at least 23 years for the 14-second hit in Blantyre, Lanarkshire, but it's reported in the news that there are a list of several criminal gangs out to get him, including his own, after blaming the shooting on his accomplices. Falvis had 3 months added to his sentence after being caught with an illegal mobile phone SIM card in his cell. But Falvis would be left scarred and bloodied following an ambush at nearby HMP shots. He was left with a scar to his face. His assailant said to have been rewarded with cash and product. It's no secret people are out to get Falvis, and there's no shortage of lags inside who are willing to carry out attacks for the right price. The murder of Graham Williamson sent shockwaves through Blantyre community, bringing to light the devastating impact of gang-related violence on local residents. The incident underscored the dangers of escalating feuds and the tragic consequences that can arise from attempts to maintain or restore reputations through violence. It's also highlighted the challenges faced by communities grappling with the presence of organised crime. Graham Williamson's partner said there's so much being said that is absolutely untrue, and that is why I've chosen to speak out and fight Graham's corner with every breath I have, to clear his reputation, because that's what he deserved. The rumours are horrific, and I have to speak out and say that Graham had absolutely no involvement with dealing at all. Everything we had together came from nothing more than legitimate hard work. He had 2 businesses, and we have a portfolio of properties together that we worked so hard to achieve. The tragic death of Graham Williamson serves as a poignant reminder of the perils associated with feuds and the lengths to which individuals may take things too far. All feuds ends in straightener-style fights. It's always sniper stuff that comes when you least expect it, a cowardly sucker punch. The last thing anyone would expect would be a shotgun to the back.